Hi there, and welcome to our talk about our systematic review on virtual reality in computer science education. We are excited to share this new research with you, as it may provide valuable insights into technological and pedagogical issues that are concerned with an educational use of immersive media for teaching various computer science topics. This project is an interdisciplinary collaboration between the University of Technology in Graz, Austria, and the University of Würzburg, Germany. Delgado and Lee note general affordances of 3D virtual environments for teaching and learning. These assumptions include, for example, an enhanced spatial knowledge representation through visualizing cognitive structures. This can be beneficial for many rather theoretical concepts of computer science. Also, experiential learning tasks that would be impractical or impossible in the real world can be visualized and simulated. Other factors that are relevant to learning, such as intrinsic motivation as the underlying why of the learning activity, can be fostered through three-dimensional representations. Further, contextualizing the learning objectives within a situated learning experience can improve the transfer of the acquired knowledge and skills to real situations. As a fifth affordance, collaborative learning can be more effective in joint three-dimensional experiences than it would be possible in 2D settings. But Delgado and Lee also note that current approaches to designing 3D virtual experiences are largely hit and miss, driven by intuition and common sense extrapolations, rather than being solidly underpinned by research-informed models and frameworks. This can be a problem, as the design of educational virtual environments is, and has to be, a process that stretches across the disciplines of the educational sciences, game design studies, human-computer interaction, psychology, and more. To establish a common knowledge base of best practices for the design and the use of virtual environments for computer science education, this review aims to gather current studies of the last decade. We investigate the relevance, topics, learning objectives, advantages, use technological devices and interaction characteristics, target groups and engagement strategies, as well as occurring problems of using immersive media for computer science education. Doing so, the first research question of this systematic review asks about the relevance of the topic regarding the numbers of related research publications. The second research question concerns learning scenarios within existing research and its reported learning objectives. As a third question, we assess the reported advantages of using immersive media for reaching those learning objectives. The next focus lies on the used technological devices. A fifth research question asks about the interaction characteristics and the used locomotion techniques. Our sixth perspective focuses on the target groups and the related engagement strategies used by researchers. As a last question, we try to gather issues and problems reported within the studies. To follow a rigorous and transparent approach, we use the PRISMA guidelines for conducting systematic reviews to gather the literature. For the joint search terms virtual reality and computer science education, we gathered 211 initial results from ACM, Scopus, SpringerLink, and IEEE Explorer. For the further analysis, we exclude duplicates and articles that were published before 2013, which can be considered as a year in which consumer virtual reality took off. Further, we excluded articles that did not have a learning objective related to computer science and studies that used non-immersive technologies. 13 articles remained, 12 of which used desktop or mobile VR setups, and one study used a corner cave setup. Regarding our first research question, most of the articles were published within the last 4 years. Only one article was published in 2015, and none suiting the review criteria before that. While there is no obvious constant increase of publications, the research interest did surely rise by the end of the decade. When investigating the learning scenarios and learning objectives, we found a variety of topics. Valonsa, Ibayashi, and Goto used VR to teach about the basic components of algorithms through an active design process. Parma and colleagues investigated how embodied interaction can foster computational thinking and the understanding of various fundamental computer science concepts. Harms and Hastings designed a cross-curricular approach to express creativity and innovation by developing VR experiences. Object-oriented programming and binary search concepts were visualized by Stigall and Sharma. Pudavong, VRST20, and Haga designed a virtual reality firewall security edutainment program to teach about firewall security concepts. Dengel transferred a popular computer science unplugged game for learning about finite state machines in a VR treasure hunt game. Further, Nicola, Stoisu, Tivadar, and Patroscu created a VR application for learning the concept of bubble sort. Network security concepts have been investigated by VRST20 and colleagues. Tanielu and colleagues explored VR approaches for active and visual object-oriented programming, while Burns and colleagues, as well as Horst and colleagues, investigated how VR can help teaching basic components of algorithms. When gathering and categorizing these different approaches, we find learning objectives for object-oriented programming, programming and coding in general, computational thinking, system development, security concepts, theoretical computer science, and innovation skills. The learning objectives comprise all cognitive levels of the students, such as remembering security rules, understanding sorting algorithms, applying coding skills to change variables and use functions, but also higher levels, such as designing their own software. One thing that might be special for computer science education is that VR can be used for visualizing concepts and relations, but also for developing, where students can learn coding through creating and designing VR experiences for themselves. This can be found in various VR concepts used for different educational VR experiences as well. When gathering the reported advantages from the different studies, we found 4 common categories. Interaction and immersion seem to be beneficial to engage learners and to induce a sense of presence in the educational environment. Visualizations and metaphors for concepts that are not directly tangible in traditional teaching approaches can support understanding. A playful design helps engaging students as well. Social experiences where learning tasks have to be solved through cooperation and teamwork can improve not only the student's performance, but also foster social skills. Regarding the technological devices that were used for teaching and learning, we found that the majority of the studies used some form of desktop VR, mostly the Oculus Rift or the HTC Vive. 5 studies used a mobile VR headset and 1 study used a corner cave setting. It has to be noted that some of the studies used more than one setting. The main development tools were Unity together with the VRTK toolkit. An analysis of the target groups and interaction characteristics showed that, in most cases, the target group had no previous VR experience. Thus, the environments were designed to support an easy onboarding and to avoid cyber sickness. For this, teleportation was the most commonly used locomotion method. The target group was mainly high school and university students. The review showed that different application scenarios were selected for different target groups. Especially younger students could be engaged through using, for example, dance and movement gameplays, integrating fun and intuitive interfaces, as well as through giving them the possibility to build their own VR scenes. Metaphorical representations can be used to provide insights into concepts that might not be approachable for younger target groups due to their rather theoretical character. Reported issues and problems addressed mainly the programming interfaces when students designed their own VR scenes, as some were not intuitive and cumbersome. Also, the user interface within a VR should not be identical to traditional two-dimensional approaches, as this can be confusing within a three-dimensional setting. Issues on user acceptance are, for example, problems when using VR as a communication tool, as VR for now does not provide many worthwhile benefits over traditional communication media. Doing so, especially acceptance of everyday use of VR, will surely depend on usability and perceived benefit. As noted before, VR projects can be a great way to teach not only coding skills, but also to incorporate teamwork and systematic planning in the classroom. Especially when students work together in interdisciplinary groups developing VR experiences together, social skills and mutual learning can be strengthened. Using this new technology can engage and interest students, and visual and appealing results can be created. Further, such kinds of projects are A great preparation for industry and various hard and soft skills can be fostered within a creative and innovative environment. Some of the limitations of this study are that a large part of the analyzed literature had to be excluded as it focused on non-immersive applications. Also, not all studies reported clear learning objectives, and some did not include detailed information about technological devices and interaction characteristics. The systematic review has some implications for the design of immersive virtual environments for teaching and learning computer science. Such environments can focus on a large variety of topics. They can use interaction, immersion, visualization and metaphors, playful design, and social experiences to support learning. Head-mounted displays might support the learning process best, even though the school's technological equipment has to be kept in mind. In the environment, teleportation seems to be the locomotion method of choice to avoid cyber sickness. Also, content that is appropriate for the target group can support motivation and engagement. Last but not least, user acceptance and insecurity might be addressed by using simple controls, and social experiences supporting peer discussions can support the learning experience in general. When it comes to the use of such environments in the classroom, this review shows that virtual environments often revolve around a specific learning objective. Thus, the immersive experience has to be included in the overall teaching sequence, for example, as a motivation for acquiring fundamental knowledge for solving a problem, etc. Educational media with a higher level of technological immersion, if available, should be preferred due to the enhanced presence, situational motivation, and engagement. Also, an introductory phase for using VR would be suggested to address insecurities. This research has to be regarded as a first gathering of results, together with a selection of first evidence-based best practices. We thank you very much for listening, and we're open for your comments and questions.